in a notebook, like a diagram or whatever. The sub points are there. You should note down in notebook so that you can properly remember all the concept that what I am discussing. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for you to recall all the concept that we have discussed in this subject. Okay, so from last lecture we have started unit number 4. So first briefly recap why I want to recapitulate what we have discussed in last lecture. Mainly in the last lecture we have seen the characteristics of main memory, characteristics of memory system. So in characteristics we have seen like location, your memory available at different locations, like in the processor, CPU, there is a register is there, cache memory is there, which is very close to the processor. Register and cache memory is very close to the processor. Internal memory, like a RAM, is there. Hmm? RAM comes under the internal memory. External memory is like a hard disk is there, so it comes under the external. So you will find which one is more closer, your register, processor register and cache is more closer to the processor. So it is more faster than your RAM and hard disk. Again, if you will compare, RAM is more closer to the processor, so RAM is more faster than hard disk, and hard disk is slower. We have seen the capacity, how we measure the capacity based on the word. Word means what? It is a group of bit. By the making a group of bit, the word in the word we can measure the capacity of the memory. Unit of transfer. Here we have seen how actually the size of data transfer in one clock cycle. How your data can carry in one clock cycle. Then we have seen access method, right? So I hope you might have remembered different types of access method. Sequential access. So kindly acknowledge in the chat box which type of memory belongs to sequential access. Which type of memory we access sequentially? Kindly do acknowledge in chat box. Anyone? Sequentially means the sequential access means start from the beginning and read through in order until the byte to be read is read. No, RAM is not belongs to sequential access. Which type of memory is a sequential access? Anyone? No, RAM is not a sequential access. How it could be a sequential access? Can you anyone tell me the long form of RAM? Anyone tell me the long form of RAM? Okay, so Manish Chaudhary have sent correct answer, that is magnetic tape. Magnetic tape is a sequential access. What is the long form of RAM? Okay. Shushti Rishika said it is random access memory. So in the name only it is written, na? What kind of access? Random, na? If it would be the sequential, the name should be sequential access memory. Instead of RAM, it should be SAM, right? Na? But the name is what? The name is random access. So obviously it should not be sequential access. The name, from the name only you can easily understand. So sequential access is a magnetic tape. Magnetic tape. In last lecture we have seen. In the magnetic tape, if you want to listen fourth song, so what you have to do? You have to forward your cassette. First, second, third, and then you have to stop at fourth song, and then you can listen fourth song. Right? Randomly, can you access fourth song? No, you have to move your magnetic tape from first song to fourth song, right? First, second, third, then fourth. Okay, second one is direct access. Yes, which type of memory belongs to direct access? Or which type of memory we can directly access? Yes, Jayesh Chavan says CD. CD is the correct answer. Anyone? Magnetic disk. Yes, that is also correct answer. Hard drive. Yes, Sujiti. Hard drive is a correct answer. Manish. Correct. So, direct access, your CD, hard disk is a direct access. You might have experienced the same thing. Like in magnetic tape, we have to forward our magnetic tape as per the song position. But in CD, simply you just click, right? You just click for the song, and what happens? Directly for the song play. But internally, you will find sequentially the CD rotate and the the reader will set to the fourth song, right? But again, it is direct access because CD is rotating and directly you are able to listen for the song. Hmm? Even though it is sequentially moving from first, second, third, fourth, but directly you can access for the song. But in magnetic tape, what happens? जनरली इफ यू आर क्लिकिंग ऑन फॉरवर्ड बटन ऐसा होता था कि वो जो सॉन्ग है वो थोड़ा आगे निकल जाता था फिर आपको उसे पीछे करना पड़ता था राइट सो इन मैग्नेटिक टेप द एड्रेस इज नॉट गिवन बट इन CD in magnetic disk there is an individual block have unique address and access is done by jumping to vicinity plus sequential search. So here you will find you can jump from first song to the fourth song, but sequentially, actually, you are searching from first to the fourth, and the fourth song will play, right? So it belongs to direct access. The third one is random access. So which belongs to random access? Already you have given answer. RAM, right? RAM. RAM is a random access because by the name only you can easily understand it is a random access memory. And the associative access. The last one is the associative access. So your cache belongs to associative access. Okay. The another thing that we have discussed about the performance. Okay. Performance in performance we have to measure the access time. What is the access time and memory cycle time? Based on that, we can measure performance. Hmm? So as per our up to whatever we have discussed, so from the discussion, you may come to know the most fastest memory is your register, which is available on the processor, which is most fastest because which are very close to the processor, the register. The processor directly takes the operand of code from the register, right? In first unit, second unit, we have seen how what is the role of register over there. Hmm? So register. So register is the most fastest. Second, at second level, which type of memory belongs to second level, which is lower than register, or which is equivalent to register? RAM and ROM. No, ROM I have not discussed. In the next lecture in detail, we will discuss ROM in detail. Yes, Nehal, Gayatri, cache. We can say register cache is the most fastest as well as most expensive. In last lecture we have seen. At second level, At second level, which type of memory come at second level after cache register? Which one is the second level? RAM, right? Yes, at the second level there is a RAM, and third level after RAM, which one is lower than RAM? Hard disk. Yes, correct, Snail. So Jagruti, the hard disk. So hard disk is more cheaper than RAM. RAM is cheaper than cache. Cache is cheaper than. Okay, accordingly you can understand. Cache and register you can consider as same level. So in the last lecture we have seen these different characteristics, right? The physical type, like the how it's made of by the semiconductor, by magnetic, by optical, right? So these different characteristics we have discussed. Okay, so today we are going to discuss the next part, that is RAM. So today we will discuss about types of RAM. And after this lecture, we'll discuss about types of ROM. RAM, ROM, right? So in the so these are the different types of semiconductor memory we will discuss in upcoming lectures. So again, if you compare first unit, second unit, the fourth unit is bigger. It too much. This unit will take too much time. Many topics are there. So from my side, it's highly recommended you should note down the topic name as well as important diagram so that you can easily remember all the concepts. Otherwise, the concepts are very simple, but you have to remember the topic name as well as the diagram. Memory type. So RAM, ROM, EEPROM, again electrically erasable PROM, EEPROM, and flash memory. Yeah, I think all these types of memory already covered in first year. Kindly anyone acknowledge in chat box this syllabus covered in first year? Because when we were in the first year, na, that time actually we have this syllabus in first year. Do you have? No, I think syllabus changed, na, so they remove this part. But in first year, actually, we learned all these types of memory. Okay, so we'll discuss. So today we'll discuss random access memory. So all you can easily understand why it's called random access memory. Why the name is random access memory? Because access, the memory access, random, not sequential, nor direct. This is random. So here it is made of semiconductor. So it is also called a semiconductor memory because RAM, ROM, all types of memory belongs to a semiconductor memory. So this RAM, you can read a data as well as write a data. But again, this is a volatile memory. Why it is called volatile? Anyone? Why this memory is called volatile? Why this memory is volatile? In your computer there is a RAM. So your RAM is volatile. If yes, why it is volatile? Can't hold the data for longer period. Yes, it can hold the data for longer period. Even 1 year it can hold. Even if you want 1 month, it can hold. That's not the issue. That is not the reason. Why actually it is volatile? It can hold the data for longer period. But one star is there. So what is that star? That I want to ask you. You might have seen in company advertisement, they advertise and they put a star over there, and below the advertisement they have written the meaning of that star, right? After a restart, data vanishes or data lost. Yes. So until and unless there is a power supply, your data will be there in a RAM, right? But as soon as there is no power supply, your computer turn off, or no power supply, your data vanishes, right? So until and unless you are giving a power supply, the data will be there. That's why it is a volatile. It is depends upon your power supply, right? It is not permanent like a hard disk, right? In a hard disk, data will be there even there is no power supply, right? So it is a volatile. RAM is a volatile. It is a, that's why it is a temporary storage. Again, it having a number of advantages. Okay, so why this kind of temporary storage memory required? What do you think? Why this kind of temporary storage we have to add in a computer? Kindly acknowledge in chat box. Okay, we can directly take a data from hard disk. No? Why there is a temporary storage? Anyone? Why we are not taking a data directly from hard disk? Why in between there is one RAM is there? Are you with me? Acknowledge in chat box. Already I think I have given this answer. Why there is why a RAM is required? Why the processor can directly take a data? Yes. Yes, Yashodeep. The reason is speed. The reason is speed. Because if you compare the processor speed and the hard disk, you will find there is a big difference in between the processor speed and the hard disk, right? Your hard disk is too slow because there is a magnetic disk which is rotating. In this unit, actually, we will discuss in detail how it works and your processor. If you compare both the speed, you will find a big difference. Even in the RAM and the processors, there is a big difference. That's why there is one again cache memory is there, register is there, right, to hold the data. Hmm? So whatever the program is running, that date program stored on a RAM so that the processor can easily access the data. For example, you are working on a Word file. Your Word file hold holded in a RAM, and when you store that file, that time it will load it into the hard disk, right? So the to match with the processor speed, we require one temporary storage. This is the main reason. That's why a temporary storage is provided in the computer to match with the processor speed. So again, there is a two types of RAM. One is static RAM and the second one is a dynamic RAM. Static and dynamic RAM. So as we have seen, it is a semiconductor memory. So in semiconductor memory, so here is one semiconductor cell. This is another semiconductor cell. What we are doing here, we are selecting a semiconductor cell as per the address, right? If the address is, this select is for to select a particular cell as per the address. So here you are selecting. Controlling is why the control signal is required. Control signal is for either reading a data or writing a data in a particular cell. So either you are reading or writing. How you will come to know it? The cell, how the respective operation will be performed by the control signal and data in or sense. So data in means what? Data in means writing. You are putting a one bit here in one cell. You are putting one or zero. So data in means you are putting a value here. It means you are writing a value in a cell. And sense means you will sense the bit. Bit means here the energy is there. Energy, it means high, that it means it is 1. Low, it means it is 0. Right? If the power supply is there, it means it is 1. If no, then it is 0. Semiconductor, it means what? Right? So by these way, actually, either we can write a data or read a data. By the address, you can select a particular cell, and the control line is for either reading or writing. We use this control signal, read and write. Okay, about dynamic RAM. Hmm. So before to discuss this dynamic RAM, you should draw this diagram. Okay, I will wait for 2 minutes. So as we have seen, that's why we need to refresh a circuit. And because of here continuous refreshment after over period of time, after certain millisecond, it is slower. Because after certain millisecond, we have to refresh memory. That's why it is slower. Huh, sir? Hello? Wait. Oh, ठीक है ठीक हो सकता है विजय सर विशाल पाटील सरांना फोन लावून द्या so why actually it is called a random access? That is another question. So as we have seen, there are multiple cells. Okay, so multiple cell. For example, here this very less size require millions and billions of cell. You will find even you can check on one processor. You will find there is uh, 70 lakh, more than 70 lakh or 70 crore transistor you will find on one processor only, or 70 lakh transistor they have used in one processor only. So number of cells are there, and each cell holding a data, right? And if you are choosing randomly a certain cell as per your requirement, right? So that's why it is called random access. Randomly, it is possible to choose directly. It is not the case you are the magnetic disk is there and it is rotating, right? And if your data is here and your because reader is here, so what you have to do, you have to move at this place, right? If your data is at this position and if your cursor is at this position, your disk need to move and then you can read this. So it is like a sequential, but here it is random. Randomly you can choose any kind of data and you can read. The processor can read respective data. You can switch your data from RAM to the cache and cache it to the processor. So that's why it is called random access. So again, here you will find it how it is analog, because there is a transistor is there, capacitor is there, and how it is a reading a data. So it is analog circuitry, and the charges. The high is for 1 and low is for 0. It means low means 0. By these way, actually, we are capacitor holding 1 and 0. So capacitor holding a bit 1 or 0. This is a bit line which is for either 1 or 0. 1 or 0. If 1 is there, so obviously the bit line is for a high. And if 1 is there, if 0 is there, obviously it is low. So if 1 is there, obviously the high voltage transmitted to the capacitor, and this address line for the to select a particular cell, right? To particular select cell. Suppose here if you want to store 1, the address line set to 1 with the help of transistor. the capacitor charge, and it hold 1. And if you want to hold, if you want to set 0 value, that time here you will not send any kind of charge, right? And it will hold 0. And when you are reading a data from this capacitor, so simply from the address line, you choose a particular cell and you check the capacitor. If there is no voltage line, so from the bit line you will get either 0 or 1. If no voltage, so the capacitor is not holding any kind of charge, it means 0. If it is holding a charge, it means it is 1. So in this way, actually, we can select a particular cell by the address line, and this bit from the bit line, either we can send 1 and 0. And while you are reading a data, for example, if you want to read this cell from the address line, you can read. If the capacitor is high, it means it is 1. If it is if there is no charge, it means it is 0. Okay? Did you understand DRAM? Did you understand DRAM? Okay, thank you. Okay. So now we'll see about SRAM. We have discussed about DRAM, now we'll see SRAM. So these in DRAM we have discussed this operation like address line active when bit read or written. Whenever if you want to either read from the cell or write in a particular cell, obviously the respective address line will be active because the address line choose a particular cell, na? So this line will be active. And the transistor is there either to, what is the purpose of transistor? Mainly the transistor purpose is to, the first purpose is to switch and the second one is to amplify. Switch and amplify. This is the main purpose of transistor. Now here actually which purpose we are for, why actually we are using transistor here? For the switch, right? We are using for the switch. So switch is there to switch either to read a data or to write a data. So here by closing a transistor, we can read a data or even we can write a data. So if you want to write voltage to bit line high for 1 and low for 0. If you want to write your bit line voltage is, if you want to write 1, so high or low. Then signal address line transfer charge to capacitor. And the address line. So address line is there. If the address line want to store over their value 1, so address line, the transistor close and the respective charge sent to the capacitor. This capacitor hold 1 value over there. And this vice versa, 0 value over there. Reading. How we done the read? Address or respective address line selected. And transistor turns on. It is selected, transistor turns on, means now it is on, and charge from capacitor fed into the line to sense the amplifier. Okay. Then whatever the charge is there, it is transmitted to the respective line. And there is an amplifier is there who amplifies the signal and he sends the capacitor charge. It is 1 or 0. And compare with the reference value to determine the capacitor is either charged or discharged, and accordingly he determines the value 0 or 1. And capacitor charge must be restored, as we have seen. Even after reading, again you have to restore the capacitor charge. That's why refresh circuitry is required who continuously refresh. Now why? It's called dynamic RAM. Anyone, whatever we have discussed now, from this discussion, what could you understand why it is called dynamic RAM? Anyone? Why it is called dynamic? Moving? No, how it is moving? It is not moving. Address line is there which is choosing respective cell, right? That's why it is random. Randomly we are choosing, na? Whatever the cell requires, randomly we are choosing and reading a data. No sequential movement is there, right? Randomly it is possible to choose different types of cells. But in magnetic disk, actually direct access is there, but there is sequential rotation is there, and then you can directly access a particular data. But here, no, the cells are at different location, but still randomly you can choose a respective cell. That's why it is random. Similarly, why dynamic? What you could understand why the name is dynamic? Anyone? Okay, I'm giving you hint. Charge. Charge is the hint. But that's why the name is given dynamic. Now anyone answer why the name is dynamic? Use a transistor and capacitor? No. Even in static RAM also you will find there is a transistor and capacitor. So because of this, the name is not given dynamic. So in this discussion, you did not understand why the name is dynamic? Yes. Riddhi, very good. Riddhi have given answer, Janvi have given answer. It must be refreshed all the time. Because it must be refreshed all the time. This is the reason. Right? Because refreshment is required. Now, if you are not refreshing, what will happen? Dynamically change. One is there, but it became zero, na? Right? So that's why we need to dynamically refresh our capacitor to maintain their charge, either for the positive. Right? That's why it is a dynamic. Now we'll see the static. In static RAM, bit stored as on-off switches. Here we have here the different logic they have used. Even though there is a also transistor and capacitor they have used, but the logic is different. Bit store as an on-off switches. So either it is one or zero. How actually you can identify? You can identify by the switches status. What are the status of switch? Based on that, you can identify the bit is 1 or 0. What is the advantage of static RAM? No charges to leak. In dynamic RAM, there is chances of or there is a charges will leak by over period of time. That's why refreshment required. But here, no charges to leak, no refresh required. Obviously, there were no charges to leak, no refreshment required, so it is faster. And dynamic is slower because you need to refresh for a period of time, right? Because the capacitor hold a charge for few milliseconds. So if you after few milliseconds you need to refresh, but here no refreshment. That's why it is faster, right? No refreshing needed when powered, but obviously you will get something with little compromise. So you have to compromise here. That is more complex construction. Dynamic RAM, the construction is very simple, na? There is only one capacitor and one transistor, but here you will find in static RAM, the construction is complex. Again, here the larger size per bit, Here the cell size in dynamic RAM in cell there is only transistor and capacitor. But here you will find there is a larger per bit. It means there is a multiple transistor capacitor they have used to hold 1 bit of data in SRAM. And in DRAM it is very small. That's why larger per bit. Obviously, multiple transistor, multiple capacitor you are using to store 1 bit. Obviously, it is more expensive. The static RAM is more expensive, but does not need a refresh circuit. That's why it is more faster. So SRAM is more faster than DRAM. SRAM is more faster than DRAM. Obviously, so SRAM is more faster. It used in catching. Here you will find here we use a digital circuitry uses a flip-flop. Uses a flip-flop to recognize either bit set 1 or 0. Draw this diagram. I will wait here for 1 minute only. Huh? Less time is available to finish this text. Draw this diagram within 1 minute. Kindly do acknowledge in chat box as soon as you finish your diagram. Okay, thank you, Jayesh. Okay, so here you can understand the difference in between static RAM and dynamic RAM. In dynamic RAM, there is only one capacitor and one transistor. But in static RAM, why the size is bigger, you can understand how many components are here. Here you will find there is multiple transistor and capacitor, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 transistor and two capacitors, C1 and C2, two capacitor we have used. Again, here is the address line and this is the bit line to read the data for read or write. Okay, address line to choose a respective set. and to either read the data like 1 or 0. The bit line to write the data like it is for 1 or 0. Okay. Now, we here mainly in dynamic RAM we have seen there are two steps. One is one for 1 and another is for the 0. 1 or 0. So how we actually recognize either the bit is 1 or 0? So here the state 1 and state 0 for 1. When it is 1, if the C1 and C1 is high, this C1 is high and C2 is low. This C2 is low and C1 is high. T1, T4 off. This T1 is off and T4 is off. And T1, T2, T3 on. So T2, T3 on. T2 on. So that time this cell holding 1. So see here why the refreshment is not required, because here simply we are using on off switches. Simply we are using on off switches. As I told you, what is the purpose of transistor? Main purpose of transistor is either it could be used as a switch or amplifier. So here we are using for as a switch. So simply to read either this cell is holding 1 or 0, what you have to check? You have to check either C1 is high or low. If C1 is high here and C2 is low, what it means? The state is 1. C1 is high, C2 is low, state is 1. If vice versa, if C2 is high, if C2 is high and C1 is low, then state is 0. Then state is 0. So we can easily identify either it is holding 1 or 0. Now here the capacitor is not holding any kind of charges. It is here we are using only for to either on off the switch. So we are making for state 1, we are making C1 is a high and C2 is a low, and for state 0, again C2 is a high and C1 is a low. But mainly how we can identify? We can identify by the combination of these switches. The switches is what? If the T1, T4 is off and T2, T3 is on, then automatically it is 1. If T2, T3 off, is T2 and T3 off, and T1 and T4 is on, it means the state is 0. So here, once you change the switch, you no need to refresh again and again, because here the capacitor is not holding any kind of charge. Simply what you are doing here, you are making the change in the transistor, and by this way you can arrange a value 1 or 0.